Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
Rebecca, I can hear you. I just think Fraser Park's muted right now.
Oh, thanks, hon. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Okay, can you hear me back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start this meeting with Fraser Park Public Utility District. Regular meeting agenda for Thursday, September 12th, 2024. The current time is 4:03. And we have an additional teleconference location at 820 Elm Trail, Fraser Park, California, and 2385 Kelly Lane in Redding, California, 96002. And so at this time we'll call the meeting to order. We're gonna do a pledge to the flag. If everyone could please rise. Ready, begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Here.
Director Kelling,
Here.
Director Gibson.
Oh, can you hear? Can you hear?
Here.
Yes, we heard. Okay, Director Nyman.
Here.
Okay, and I'm Director Schoenberg. And so we're all present. That's 5 directors. And we're going to move on to item 2. Discussion vote adjust agenda if necessary. Do we have anything that we need to adjust on the agenda?
Ellen's gonna be on around 5
Okay,
for the closed session. So.
okay, so can we just can I entertain a motion that wherever we're at, we will go to the closed session around 5? And then continue wherever we've left off? I need a motion speaking to that.
I'll make a motion that we start our regular agenda, and when Alan is on and available for us to go into closed session, that we interrupt and go to Alan.
And then come back to our regular spot,
And then-
correct?
And then come back to our regular, wherever we stopped at, yes.
Okay, Do I hear a second for that motion?
I'll second
I'll
that.
second it.
Okay. We have Garcia beat you to it, Director Gibson, so, motion is Kelling, the second is Garcia. I'm gonna take a roll call of directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes 5-0-0. Are there any other adjustments that need to be made? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna move on to public comments. These are items not listed on the agenda. We try to limit this to 5 minutes, thank you. Is there a member of the public on here that needs to make a comment on something not already on the agenda? If it's on the agenda, you can comment at any time once we get to that item, or if you need to before then even.
Do you not comment?
She's on.
Oh.
Okay, hearing no public comments, I will move on to item 4, report of officers. Starting with the president, that's myself. I don't believe that I did come in and sign. What did I sign in between meetings? I
You
signed
did
something.
sign. You signed.
Oh, a resolution.
Oh.
So I came in and signed, as soon as I forget. I signed the resolution that we needed to sign. As well as our secretary signed it, and so that was sent off, I believe. Which resolution? That was the
That was the one for the meter project.
for the meter project. So that's already taken care of, and I think that's the only thing I have to report on. Do we have anything from our vice president?
Not a good time.
Okay, anything from the secretary?
Come look at this.
Secretary.
I can find my.
Secretary. Anything from the secretary?
No.
Lyman?
I signed the resolution.
You
And,
did too? Yeah.
yeah. And I think did I sign them? I think that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I did.
Okay, thank you. Anything from our treasurer?
I'll give up. I'm not gonna worry about anything.
Oh, the
Treasurer?
Treasurer is out of town, but I have not.
Okay, we'll talk about it during financials, but we did make some alterations that you may or may not have heard about so far. I know we couldn't tell you exactly what until the board meeting, so I think we'll go over that though
We'll
during
go
the
over it.
financials. And anything from our JPIA representative?
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Are there, item 5, moving on, are there any board member initiatives?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to item 6. It's the manager's report.
And, last weekend, we had a pretty good leak on Los Padres. Corey was out of town. I brought in Pat Banfield, his guy, to, help us, thank God. It still took hours and hours and hours. We just had to reduce pressure, though. We didn't have to shut it all the way down. We also got a leak on Summit, which we were able to fix pretty quickly. And then, we have a lead service line inventory that's due, which is gonna, over the next year probably, we're gonna have to, it's due by, the report is due by the 16th of next month. In the years past, you could estimate service line material for the lead service line. This year, they want to know what our service lines are on our side and what the service lines are made of on the customer side, which we've never had a record of that. We have no record of what's on our side either. The only records we have are installation records for the meters, but that wasn't when the service line was put in. They already had service lines pre-lead rule that happened in 1986. So we have no idea if there's galvanized pipe with lead in it on either side. So it's gonna take up a huge amount of my time, Tiffany's time, because we had to put in every account and then check the boxes and say unknown and unknown. Then we have to send out a letter to all the customers saying whatever it says about, you know, although we don't know you have lead in your service line, you know, we need to know, we need to send a survey out to everybody. So over the next year, we're gonna have to dig up and expose at least 20% of that to add to this, inventory. Yeah,
Is there a way to ascertain if the customer doesn't know if their pipe is lead or not? How do we find out whether that
So I-
steel galvanized is lead?
well, I mean, they tell you that there's a scratch test and but if the house is built pre-86, it guaranteed has lead. Not enough to where it's cause and effect, because we do, lead and copper testing every 3 years. And we only have one house that comes back with an exceedance for that. But, you know, supposedly you can do a scratch test and see if it's shiny, but none of that tells you about galvanized. So what we're gonna have to do is go through the assessor's office and see when the houses were built. After 86 or 86 and after, we could assume no lead. Prior to 86, it's just gonna be an unknown, and I think at some point, because this ain't the state, this is the EPA. And every water company in the state, or probably the nation, is having to do it, and it's hammering everybody that don't have enough time or personnel to even begin to do this stuff, so. But once we get the inventory done and submitted and send out that letter with the inventory, I mean, with that survey, then we'll at least meet the deadline, but then we'll have to start setting aside time to do all this research. Because every single address is gonna have to be looked up to the county.
And you don't know if they had a repipe done.
Well, if they had a
It'll be
repipe,
straight.
well, that's the point, but it doesn't matter, because only thing that matters is after 86, it's no lead. So we'll know that those are no lead.
No, but I'm,
And a repipe would be no lead. Prior to 86, it's gonna be considered unknown anyway on the customer side, because your unknown suspected lead or whatever the box is that you check. Cause we won't know, and unless the same owner owns it in response to a survey, well, I had my house repiped in 86 or 87 or 89, we're not gonna know, but anyway, it's just, I'm only bringing it up because it's a huge waste of everybody's time that has to do this, and it's not been nice for anybody, so.
do we know if all the pipes when they repiped were copper back in 86, or is it, we're not gonna know, because some of them were galvanized still?
Okay, the water district has never used copper, ever. But we've never ran a service line from our meter to the houses. That's always been
Right.
the,
Responsibility.
but
of the
they
owner.
say right on there, they don't care who the ownership is. We have to determine who or what it is on that side to a limit. There's a thing where there's a 20% threshold where you could do this very convoluted way to submit the results and survey 20%. But needless to say, it's gonna take up a massive amount of our time trying to get this all in place. And that's all I got.
One more question, was there any effect to our water as far as that fire, were we supplying?
Oh, yeah, actually, I should have brought that up. Yeah, not enough to even matter. They were dipping out of ponds down in Gorman, the helicopter, and they were negligible. But when the fire hit, Corey called me before any fire department was even there. So I ran up there, we were using shovels to try to keep the fire away from the pine trees, the house on the hill. Had the guys bring me the loader. I ran it up behind like Lisa's house and the houses that you could get to where the hillside doesn't come down and block you off behind that. I cut a fire break there. And then that was gonna bring it up. I know right now we can't do it, but in the months ahead, if we're not so financially strapped, we probably really should look at getting that dozer running again. Because if a fire's coming, the fire department's busy. I mean, our fire department was out on 138 and everybody else is down south. So if we got in that situation, I could at least cut a line around some of the town.
Right.
With the dozer, so something to keep in mind when I hit you up and go, hey, let's get that dozer fixed now. If it could be fixed.
Okay.
Assessed anyway.
Huh?
Have it assessed,
Yeah,
looked at.
yeah, I had our regular mechanic from Coastline try to help. He thought it was the fuel pump. We tried a bunch of stuff and then I just got fed up because he couldn't figure it out. But he'd probably have to go to some tractor supply that, or some tractor company that works on old tractors because it's a 1941. And new modern mechanics only know computers.
Right.
Okay, any questions for Johnny?
Thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome.
Okay, administrative assistance report, 6A.
Among everything else that I've been working on, I got wind of a cybersecurity grant that's being offered by Cal OES. And application is due the 27th. They didn't give hardly any notice for districts to apply, which could be in our favor because less will apply for the grant. But I already had a conversation with a cybersecurity provider who is partnered with CSDA. So what they'll end up doing is she talked to me and kind of gave a general overview of our system, things that she could possibly improve. She's gonna get back to me with a list of that type of list, what could be improved, and then the price list. And then we're gonna take that and throw it into the grant application. I won't go into too much specifics, but one of the things they can also help with is, I was telling you in 2025, Windows will no longer support Windows 10, and that will become a security risk. So only I'm not sure, some of our computers will need to be upgraded, and you cannot just install Windows 11. You have to have a new computer to run it. So what it'll do is it'll cover the replacement of all the computers. So since we have to do it anyway, it's a perfect opportunity to get it paid for. So if she gets back to me and everything goes well, I should have that application in by next Friday.
Wow,
That's wonderful. Thank you, Tiffany.
good job.
Any questions for Tiffany?
All good.
Okay, on it. Okay, item 7. Standing committee reports. We're gonna start with the accounts payable committee.
Okay, well, we met and we went over the bills and we also went over because we were short money, so we had to make a transfer from the general fund of like $15,000 to make sure we covered everything. And so we made some changes to the transfers. We found there was an overlap of 4 transfers for some reason that were like continuing to go. So we canceled like 2 transfers that we were making to the replacement fund. And then we decreased the
SLA.
we eliminated the SLA. We were putting 5,000 in the SLA. We are no longer putting any money into the SLA. So we got rid of that, and then we decreased
The general fund replacement.
the general replacement fund where we were putting 10,000, we decreased it to $5,000. So we're-
And the transfer came from the general fund for now in order to cover our bills because we don't have enough to cover them. Our payroll and stuff for this month. And a lot of that, I was wondering why that happened, and Deborah can talk more about it if we want to when we get to financials. But it really has to do with all these extra payments we're making to a lot of different things that were not anticipated in the budget because they didn't come up at that point. A lot of attorney fees that were not things that we anticipated paying. And a lot of extra fees with the for items that we cannot charge back to the state. So that's where most of that money is coming short. Now, any questions on that? We can discuss that more in financials.
Yep.
Okay, state update meeting committee
And it isn't meeting until next week, I think it is.
next week. Okay, and I'm going to move on to 8 ad hoc committee reports. So the project committee. I thought we did meet once, didn't we? I believe. It was to do with the budget adjustment, or the timeline adjustment.
Yeah, we met concerning Dee's timeline, and we'll be discussing more of that tonight to
Now, we
final
didn't finish
approval
meeting because
to give to Ruben the final numbers to make the change to the, Lake of the Woods, construction timeline.
And I'm just gonna note, I didn't note on 7 that the reason I was part of that is I was standing in for, Director Kellum on the Accounts Payable Committee. Okay, on the ad hocs, the Financial Committee. Director
Yeah.
Kelling, I don't believe we met.
We haven't met.
You have anything? No, okay. So, any questions on item 8? Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 9. This is discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. This is Deborah.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
So we prepared 31 checks out of the revenue operating account for a total of $43,175.15. There were 5 extraordinary disbursements that include the payment for employee benefits to JPIA Insurance, $9,134.58. A disbursement for the primary visa for $4,764.54. Disbursement to farm pump and irrigation in the amount of $4,512.06. Disbursement to Southern California Edison in the amount of $8,181.76. And a disbursement to Young Woolridge for $3,276.70 for well 8. And those were the extraordinary disbursements.
And there were just a couple of items that were moved. I think only one actually that was in the wrong category. And what else came up there during that? I think there was something else that there was a question on the phone, but that was resolved. On the,
Yeah,
because we have
an extra, it's extra because we have extra lines that we have for our, new system. So,
it's a little confusing now because everything's cell internet service instead of just, standard internet service now, and so it comes up. When it comes up as the category, it's a little confusing as to what's what, and so we thought we might have overpaid, but it, appeared to be correct. Okay, so, any questions for Deborah in regard to our financials? Okay, then I will entertain, and I just wanted to note that money, the reason we came up short is the 40,000 in checks, 40-something thousand in checks. The exact number, and, we only had
51,000.
1,000 in the bank, so it wasn't gonna cover the payroll, which is happening next week, so that's why we moved the 15,000.
This is Joan. I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask. So when Brahma was talking about transferring money from whatever into the long-term savings and the short-term savings, can you clarify again how much is going into
right
which
now,
one?
We stopped transferring any money actually a month or two ago, about a couple months ago, into the capital improvement fund, because when we did all the calculations on our replacement fund, we realized we really needed to be putting money in there. So we do have a little over $1 million in the long-term replacement, $1.1 million. And so we tapped that for now and started putting money into the replacement for the for all of the grants that we've had, the USDA grants. And then we have a short-lived asset fund, which I don't know what that has in it right now. But we were, transferring 5,000 a month into that.
And we have $243,404.61.
And we've capped that temporarily just to try to catch up. And so, so neither one of those has money going into it, but in terms of replacing items, we do have money going into the replacement fund now. An extra amount.
And then 5,000 into the general fund.
And then 5,000 going
Because we-
into our general fund, which is where we pulled. So the general fund, just to refresh everybody's memory, is the fund that existed before any of our USDA loans. And that was set aside so that if for some reason we were to go bankrupt, that money is not to be touched by the USDA in order to repay loans.
Can,
So-
can we meet with,
Yeah, I'm done. It's like do one more minute. So I think, and so, yeah, so that's it. So that's where we stand on all of those. And, so that's, we are still putting money to repay the general fund, but we did need to dip back into it 15,000 for this month. Is
Okay,
that
so
clear
just
enough,
to,
Jim?
yeah, just to confirm, you were round numbers, spitballing round numbers. You were putting about 7,500 a month or more toward those USDA things. You're still doing that amount. You haven't reduced that anymore.
No, we haven't reduced that.
Yeah, we haven't
Okay,
reduced that.
perfect.
In fact, we double checked everything on that, and we can pull a little bit of money out of our reserves since we're over the amount that we're supposed to be holding in the reserve. So our reserves are actually more than we need, and our replacement, we're still putting money in.
So we're helping us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're not going to, any other questions on the, financials? And if not, then I'm going to entertain a motion to, approve our bills.
I make a motion that we approve our bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions, discussion before we do a roll call vote? Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
and Director Gibson.
Aye.
I'm Director Schoenberg, I'm an aye, so that motion passes 500. And we are paying our bills. Thank you, Deborah. I don't think unless somebody has any other questions for you, I think we are done with that.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
The only question we have, Deborah, do we need Deborah for any of the stuff on that,
I mean, I don't see where
on the amendment? You're not gonna be able to look
she's
things
not
up
gonna be
from
able to
home,
look
right?
things up, no.
I
So she
I don't
can't
have
look-
access.
Okay.
I can do it
So,
Monday.
Okay. Yes.
Do you want to clarify your question? Do you want to know how much has been paid to Unified? Was that your question?
Yes.
I have spreadsheets of everything ever.
Well, everything
Okay.
paid to Unified and what we had on the original contract with Unified.
Well, that's still on there because they're reducing it to a certain amount. So if we could at least have how much we paid to Unified, because well, we're not even at that topic yet, but yeah, that's what we
But
need.
then I can go, well.
Then you can go, yeah.
Okay, so we should be fine. Deborah, Tiffany is gonna look at the spreadsheet she has.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Bye,
Thank
Deborah.
you. Bye.
Okay, so we are going to skip for now until our attorney shows up, our closed session. And we are going to move on per our motion. We're gonna move on to item 13 instead. And then as soon, I will stop the discussion of wherever we're at as soon as our attorney shows up and we'll go into closed session. So item 13, the discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lake of the Wood Consolidation Planning Project. 13A, discussion vote review of the project timeline. So this is what we were looking at with D, and D sent this information into us. And it's not in your book, however. Do we have this to look at, Tiffany?
What were you asking? Sorry.
The timeline for
Oh,
that D sent in, because we need to make a vote on it.
I haven't had an update on the timeline. The last meeting.
D, when you sent that to us, you didn't send that to Tiffany? our numbers that we were changing with Carlos, and we didn't finish discussing it because we weren't able to meet, when we said we were going to meet, but we had an idea of what changes we were gonna make. We did discuss that as part of the project ad hoc. Do we have that? Can we send it to Tiffany so she can print it out for the board?
Planning study timeline?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is for Lake of the Woods. This is the timeline for Lake of the Woods, which works in conjunction with the
Well,
budget.
tell him what date, because he sent the last,
on the 10th, we got one.
We got one on the 10th.
well, you have to look and see, because he may have just sent it to
Did
us.
you send anything else, Dee?
Well, look, Lisa,
Well, I'm not gonna know if he sent them to Tiffany.
It says on the email.
the last one that I see is the 10th. And what's the email say? It's with the Tiffany, on the 10th, Tiffany,
September 10th?
yes, September 10th.
And it actually says, it says something weird, that's why you might not, it says design schedule, but it's actually the timeline. And it says the item is called planning study timeline, I believe. Can't read the whole thing on my phone, but yes, planning study timeline, revision August 28th, 2024. So is that the final? Cause it says revision August 28th, Dee. I thought we discussed it after the 28th.
2 weeks ago.
Can you hear me, Dee?
Well, let him print it out.
Yeah, I've been muted here. Yeah, let's see, the one, yeah, 8/28 should be the day that's the date that I made the latest revision on the timeline. Yeah.
I
8/28.
thought just it in the. Okay, well, this has the May 2006, so. You
That's
still
what-
have to be determined on here, Dee. This is the wrong one. You need to send the one that we put dates on.
Well, we can go over it, Lisa.
You should have one that has an ending date of May 2026.
Yes, it has the ending date. It does not have.
Okay, she's printing it out. Let's wait a second. We'll just go line by line, and if we need to change it, we'll change it.
I know, but we actually had come up
I
with dates.
I
and
know
I don't have
that,
those in front of me. Do you?
no, but we can go over it
Do
again.
you have those dates in front of you, Carlos? Did we lose Carlos? We lost Carlos.
Oh, excuse me, Lisa. Let me look at mine.
Yeah, on this one that you sent, Dee, it has the to be determined for the MOU.
I have the dates, Lisa.
And, okay, great. Brahma wrote that down. It has the to be determined for the environmentals.
No, pass one to Jane.
Thank you, brother.
And,
have
Terry you'll just have to make notes as we read it, Terry and, Director Kelly and Director Gibson. But you have the old version of this, which is this is the task. It has the 6 tasks, starting with project management, administration, legal. We're just gonna go from the top and make sure that our dates are correct. Carlos, oh, good, you're back. So we're gonna start from the top and put in the dates so that we can agree upon this, so that we can send it into Ruben along with the next line item, which is gonna be to be discussed, which is our budget. So the first thing under task 1, project management, administration, and legal is the MOU, which is the draft interconnection water service agreement. We had come up with a date for that because
May
right now it said
31st.
to be determined.
What I had there, Dee, when we talked was May 31st, 26. Is that an agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the date that Lisa wanted, because I had said June 30th, 2024 or 2026, and Lisa said that she would prefer it May 31st, so we're not forcing it in
Right,
the
we didn't
month.
want to run up to the end of our funding in case there was some issue with it.
Yeah. So it
And our
was May
funding right
31st.
now, our
Mm,
funding right now would end on the end of June 2026, correct?
Well,
End of
that's
May.
what we're asking for.
End of May,
No,
end of May,
no, that's,
May 29th. May 29th, 2026 is what the latest schedule shows.
well, then that's a problem, because I'm talking about the actual final payment date for this. Not what the schedule shows. We were trying to have everything on the schedule happen before we couldn't get any more money to pay for things. So didn't we decide, Carlos, that the money could go till June 2026 and that everything else was gonna end in May 2026?
Yeah, we discussed the final date of the planning project to be the end of June of 2026.
Correct, okay. And that was okayed by Ruben verbally, correct?
Yeah, he said that there shouldn't be a problem. But he'd have to check the funding to see what date that funding had, which he thought it went well beyond June of 2026.
Okay, so that's something we need to determine for sure. I mean, we could vote on it with the agreement that if there's an issue in the state update meeting that we may have to revisit
So
this.
where do we just put that in an email to him? Or this is the final date we want for final payment date?
Yeah,
Because right now,
we're gonna include this with the budget that Dee sends them as well.
Right. But we need to make sure that we're very clear that that needs to be changed, because when
it's too early right now,
because right now we're running out,
2025.
yeah, the end of 2025, right?
I don't even think it's the end of it.
Yeah, I think it's December 31st, I think, 2025.
Yeah, December is the final date right now, Carlos?
I thought on the old one it said December of 2024.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. It's December 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what we
So
were,
we need to make sure that that's pushed to June of 2026. And that they can do that and that they're not gonna run out of funding.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's in 3
Ruben said
months.
that he doesn't see an issue with it. It shouldn't be a problem, but he'd have to check. I can send him a message tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know by Monday whether he found anything out about that or not. Because the
Okay.
funding that's being used for this planning project, he needs to check on whether or not that extends out to past of June of 2026, which he thinks it does, so we shouldn't have an issue, but I'll let you guys know if he's found anything out already.
Okay, and that's something we can discuss at the state update meeting if there's an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so staying on task 1, so task 1A, May 31st, 2026. Task 1B is the MSR, that's completed. Task 1C is a sphere of influence map, that's completed. Task 1D, apply to LAFCO to amend the sphere of influence map, we have that as August 2024.
We were changing that to September.
Yeah, gotta go September. What we have to determine from LAFCO and actually between Tom Dodson and Alan and I to determine just how much, there's an environmental component that we have to submit with the sphere of influence application. And so we, Ellen and Tom Dodson and I have a telephone conversation scheduled for next to determine just how much has to be done there for the SOI. So anyway,
So does that be included in the application, and should that date go past 2024? I mean, September, because you're in September.
apply to LAFCO to amend the sphere of influence map. Everything was ready by the end of August, but then LAFCO wants to have some sort of CEQA study done as a part of the application. So
And I think that date of September 2024 is not going to work. We're in the middle
That's
of
right.
September.
and I don't know until we have the conversation and get that figured out, but I think probably a safe date might be October or even November.
October.
Okay, because we want to agree upon that as a
Okay.
board, so we're gonna put October 2024.
Let's put November.
Okay, we're gonna put November 2024.
Okay.
And that's because we still need the CEQA information for the application.
Yes, that's correct.
I know, I'm just reiterating it for the minutes. Is there an issue?
No, let's move on, Lisa.
Task 1E. That's complete. That's the application for approval of the revised annexation map. You have a one after that. It says map approved by LAFCO and Kern County 2017. Annexation is on hold until the regional project is completed. So it's sitting there with an application, but we may have to do something else on it, or no?
Well, when we get to the time when we're going to actually do the annexation, we're gonna have to do another MSR, I'm sure. And we will have, golly, I've got the phone ringing here. I'll call right back. I'm in the meeting. So when we
That's going to be during the
the
construction.
annexation lands have been defined, and that map, that won't change. But when we get to the point where, the map's sitting there, Lisa, it's just kind of like what you said. It's in LAFCO, it's been approved by LAFCO and by the county surveyor, and it's sitting there waiting for us to get everything else done so we can actually do the annexation.
And is that actually going to, that application and that final annexation is going to happen at the point where we have the funding, correct, for the construction? So that's not gonna happen until we've actually applied for the construction funding and been granted construction funding, is that correct?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I can't, we have a number of things that we have to get done before we do the annexation. Lake of the Woods is moving ahead. We're moving ahead with improving our system. So there's a number of things that have to be done. Our pipeline improvement projects have to get done. So, that's basically sitting there until we can get things done.
Okay, but it's not gonna happen, nothing else is going to happen during this particular
Right.
timeline.
Yeah, that's right.
For this project. Okay, so if there are no questions on task 1, I'm gonna move on to task 2.
Why don't we just go down to 4 because
Okay,
everything
can
else
I
is.
just say that it's completed?
Okay.
You're really being,
Well, because it's all complete. It's very clear that it's complete.
I know, but they don't have this in front of them, Director Kelly and Director Gibson. So I'm going to put it in the record.
Okay,
that
fine.
okay, Director
Put it
Nyland?
in the record, Lisa, if it makes you happy.
I
Please
I
do.
can share my screen if you'd like. I have it up now on my second screen.
Okay, that probably is a good idea, cause item task 2 and 3 are completed. It's the test wells, which we've completed a long time ago, and that's task 2, and task 3 is the engineering report and the final engineering report with the cost breakdown.
You just open sharing.
Can you see it now, hopefully?
Can you, see that, Director Kelling and Director Gibson?
What was that?
They're not visual, they're only hearing.
They might be on their phone.
Oh, Director Gibson's on her phone. Are you just on your phone?
Just take care.
No, I can see it.
Okay, let's just continue on.
Do you wanna run this?
No,
I'm starting to get really annoyed. Okay, task number 4, environmental documents. Environmental documents to the Office of Planning and Research and the Division's Environmental Review Unit to be determined. What date did we have on that?
we didn't have a date on that.
We did, Carlos, we came up with something.
Well, I didn't write a date down when we had our meeting. So,
We need a date because we don't want to be determined.
Yeah,
We
I
need
didn't
to get
get a
this
date.
approved
I didn't
with
get a
our
date for
budget.
that.
So I think you were gonna research that, Dee, and let us know what you thought on when we could be done with that.
Yeah, I have again, I've got some communications with Tom Dodson on that, where we haven't received the biological survey report yet. I'm getting a little concerned. And so I've communicated with Tom a couple of times, and most recently, even today, and asking him to get in touch with Daniel Smith and determine exactly when he's going to be able to get that report done. I've talked with him a couple of times, and he has promised to get it next week, and then next week, and then next week. And it just doesn't seem to be getting done. So I'm getting a little concerned that, we need to get that part of it done and then get the cultural resources survey started and get that done as well.
So then that affects 4B, which is September 2024 for the biological. Do we need to change that date?
Yes. Let's let's go to October.
Yeah, that's the end.
we changed that to October.
Okay, so that's changing to October 2024, and can we have what we think is a date for the environmental documents that we hope we can meet, because hopefully we don't have to put this into Ruben again?
I'll have to talk to Tom about that, Lisa. Tom's original estimate was that it would take a year, about 10 to 12 months to get everything done. And so, it would probably be in 2025 at some point, and maybe September of 2025, but I really
Well,
need,
why don't we put October of 2025, because that's a year off from when they give us the biological.
well, we can put that in there if we need to put a date in.
Why don't we put October 2025, and then that way you could change it, we can, as we go along, we can talk about it some more. At least we give something to Ruben.
It's better ahead than us having to revise it. It's better that we get it completed ahead of time rather than keep revising it. Is everybody okay with that? Carlos?
Yeah, if you guys are okay with that, I'm fine.
Okay, and the last item on task 4 is cultural resources survey for all project sites. So that would be part of the same thing. So that would also be October 2025.
Let's use that date. That'll be safe, that's for sure.
And is that safe enough for our other completion dates?
Yeah, at this point in time, we can use that.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on unless there's any questions to task 5. Task 5, we have the draft plans and specifications for the design, November 2025.
Yep,
The final plans, May 2026, giving us a month before hopefully hopefully it's all done before the end of our funding.
Yeah.
And the construction application in May 2026, so that we can pay whatever we need out of this project to be able to, prepare for the application. So does all that look good to everyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking good to me.
Okay, so, and then the last time is contingency. We don't need a date for that because that's just anything that comes up. We don't know what that is. So, can we entertain a motion for this timeline?
I make a motion that we approve the project timeline and with the final date of June 6, 30/26 for the final completion of the project. And have it be submitted to Ruben along with the budget, the updated budget, so that we can get an amendment going for this project.
I have
Is
a
there second to
question.
this motion?
I have a question for Carlos, and Carlos, I'm sure you see the schedule. Where does that go on the timeline?
Well, that's why I brought it up.
I think it should probably be a separate line item saying final date of the planning project or something, or completion of the planning project. Something of that sort.
Instead of that line saying contingency, then should we?
Yeah,
change
because we don't have contingency for this planning project anymore anyway, so that
Right.
should be in
Yeah,
there.
they
So
took
we
away
can,
our contingency money.
give me the verbiage.
Shoot, I would just say something like final planning project completion date.
Okay,
And if Ruben wants a different verbiage, then we can discuss that at the state update meeting.
completion date, and that would be June 30th.
Yeah, June 30, 2026.
Yeah,
20.
June. How about June 31st? Just
There is
kidding,
no June 30th.
just kidding, just wondering if you. Yeah, no problem. Just checking.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Before we do a roll call vote?
One other, and that is, under item 6A, now that we've changed contingency, do we need a line just for other, or just take that out?
I would take it out.
Yeah, take it out.
Okay,
We don't have money for other on our budget.
okay. All right, I've got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
and Director Schumber is an aye, so that motion passes 5-0-0, and that is our new timeline. We're gonna move on to 13B, which is the project budget.
Well, I don't think there's anything to discuss on that at this point. I mean, we've made the changes. The letter was approved, with the changes, so we've submitted the bills on this last claim. And so we just need to move forward, and we just need to submit this last project timeline to Ruben and
And they
say,
need to change.
and we need to get the amendment going. I think we need to emphasize to him, we need to get the amendment going, because running out of time. Yes,
Alan
Tiffany.
just joined the meeting.
Okay, Alan, so we're going to stop at this point, 13B. We will pick back up at 13B. Welcome, Alan, and we're gonna go into the closed session. So we're going to do what we need to do for that. If all of you can stick around, we will be in closed session for a bit, and then we will come back out and go back to 13B.
Say something to D about.
The time right now, I'm gonna go ahead and read the closed session verbiage. Okay, so oral announcement prior to closed session, government code 54957.7A. A representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. Item 10, closed session pursuant to government code 54957, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. Government code 54956.9 D1. Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC et al. Kern County Superior Court, case number BCV-24-100199. Item 11. Closed session pursuant to government code 54957. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, government code 54956.9 D1. CNC Elite Properties LLC and Hacienda Salcedo Inc. versus Fraser Park Public Utility District, Kern County Superior Court, case number BCV-24-101972. Item number 12, closed session pursuant to government code 54957. Conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8. Property in question, parcels 256-070-54, 256-070-55, and 256-520-13. Agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Brahma Nyman, and D. Jasper. The negotiating parties are Jeff French and Emily Wainwright. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. We are going to go into the closed session. The time right now is 4:57.
Anybody else join?
Tell me when everybody can hear me.
Yeah, we gotta wait for
You got Terry.
everyone to reappear.
Oh,
In my truck, last time I seen you,
What's that, John?
at least. Oh, no, I was talking to Jerry.
okay, are we back? Can you hear us? No.
No, we're waiting for Becky. Should be in. Let. Okay, now you can.
Okay, so we're coming back out of closed session. I'm gonna make the oral announcement. Following closed session, Government Code 54957.1A. The legislative body of any local agency shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention on that action of every member present thereon. We did not have any reportable actions that occurred during the closed session. We are coming out of the closed session at 5:40 PM. So we are back in our regular session right now. And we are back on item 13B, discussion vote on the project budget.
And nothing has changed on that, Lisa.
Okay, so you're gonna submit that. We're gonna talk about anything we need to talk about at the state update meeting, correct? And we're gonna submit the new timeline, so we can move on to 13C.
Yes,
Okay, so 13C, discussion vote on acquisition and development of well 8 and 9 property. That was discussed in closed session, but there was no action taken. I don't think we have anything further to discuss in open session, do we, Dee?
nothing.
Okay, item 13D, discussion vote on the lot line adjustment for the well number 9 property. That was also discussed, and that's part of what we're negotiating. So I don't think we have anything else to discuss on that currently. Is that correct, Dee?
Yes, correct.
Okay, 13E, discussion vote on the property appraisal, acquisition and development of additional booster and tank site. Same thing, 13E, those are all under negotiation. And we have not yet received the property appraisal for the Bear Court property. And so until we finish the negotiation that is discussed in the closed session, we will not have further on that unless we get, well, we need to get the property appraisal, and then we can report that in the next meeting, what that amount will be. So anything else on that, D, 13E?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, 13F, discussion vote on the MSR, the draft, blah, blah, blah. That MSR is complete. We voted on that. I don't think we just need to submit to LAFCO, correct? But we still have the application to do, correct?
Right, yeah, the application, the MSR will go in with the application.
And the application is a little bit slowed down because we need to do additional work as far as the application goes on environmental issues.
Yes.
Correct?
The application
Okay,
is done, except for that.
any questions or discussion on 13F? Okay, 13G, discussion vote on the memorandum that's tabled. 13H, discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation. That would be Lake of the Woods. Take it away, Pam.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Good. Okay, so starting with our $3.5 million grant that moved up to 5.1. That's the one with the permanent generator left on there. We had our kickoff meeting with the state on the 29th, and we talked about merging the generator portion into the project 3, the water main replacement with the south tank and SCADA, for a couple of reasons. It'll save us cost on mobilization and demobilization. All the soft costs and allowances and claim tracking will be easier to do. And so we also want to look at purchasing the land around the blending station. So to do this, it's going to delay the permanent generator, causing us to rent a couple more years. But other than that, it didn't seem like there were any downfalls. So our board approved doing that, and we've let the state know. So they approved that at September 4th meeting. Carlos is going to be working with our engineers for the additional technical assistance to so that he can cover those costs until the application's all done and submitted. And then we're also finishing up paving and cleaning up for our project that's current. The paving ended up being wrapped up last Wednesday, but county had some things that they want corrected. So we're just waiting on an email from him and then the corrections. So any questions before I move on to the next?
I have one for you, Pam, but I'll defer to the board, but once the board ask any questions that they have, then I have one.
I think you're okay to go forward, Dee.
Okay, Pam, and I can't remember the name of the street, but you've replaced some pipeline in that comes down from the north tanks. For a certain distance, I see the pavement patches. Can your engineer fill me in on really what you put in there and the connectivity on that? Because we're working on our connections to that system.
Yeah, I think the plan was not to connect to the north tanks with you guys, which was going to be going to connect to the blending station where the line comes out at the blending station or over to well number 6, not the north tanks.
Yeah, we're going to go to the north tanks. That's you know, the highest point in the system, and that's where all the water needs to go, and the whole system can float on that, as far as I understand it, Pam. And so I need to talk with your engineer to confirm that.
And that's fine, but I think we also brought up that the reason why we wanted to take it by the blending station was in case we needed to blend it.
Well, we can work a detail out on that. Yes, we need to consider that too. So
yeah, that's why it was brought up at the state meeting. I remember. That's why we stopped not putting it right at the system, right at Cuddy Hall there.
Hydraulically,
it makes more sense to go to the north tanks.
Makes more sense, but let's see if we can fold the blending in as well, because that's important.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like we have a state meeting coming up. So do you want our engineers on that meeting, or do you want to have a separate meeting with them?
Separate meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we can kind of, now we need, we're getting to the point where we need to work out some of the details.
All right. Who would you like on there? Just Jeannie?
Yeah.
You? Who else from Fraser Park?
Really, Johnny, he's, familiar with the working of our system. And then I'll probably have Curtis as well, because he's running the hydraulics.
Okay.
Pam, I'd like to be on that meeting as well. This is Joan. And the reason that we want everything to go to the blending station is the blending station does have the ability, everything is in place to be able to take it up to the north tanks. And that means a whole lot less pipeline and everything that you would have to do. Yeah, and it means a whole lot less pressure on our water system because pressures become a problem.
Yeah, Joan, and you don't have the same capacity at that blending station as we're going to put into that north tank. But we can look at that.
Yeah, so we need to get both engineers on the same page to look at the schematics and the hydraulics on that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'll set that up. And do you mind Zoom, or do you prefer a different method?
Zoom would be okay for the first one, Pam. Yeah. Okay.
I just didn't know if you wanted to share your screen. I guess I can make you host and we'll just do that. But it might sometimes, I know with PMP, it's easier for them to do Microsoft Teams.
Well, we got Teams too, so whatever.
Okay. All right. I'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else before I move on to the 5 million? So the next phase obviously is gonna start, it's gonna incorporate now the generators. And so it'll be the water main replacement project, project 3. And right now we're still at 90% of the drafts. They're being reviewed by Eric and Joan and I, mainly Joan and Eric, because they were boots on the ground. We're still working with forestry. There were a couple of people out on vacation, so communications kind of slowed for a little bit. Well, number 4 is back online with lots of monitoring and monthly reports to the state. Blending station samples so far for the nitrates have been 3.3 to 3.8. And the last result was 3.8 on August 20th. Last fluoride levels for well number 2 was 1.4 with an overall level at the blending station at 0.48, and that was August 1st. Our wells are up 1.5 feet from July to August, except for well number 4 and 6. They dropped 4.5 to 8.5, which is really kind of expected at the beginning of the summer, actually. And now that we're almost to the wet weather, we should be doing well. But since January, they're still up 23 to 41 feet. And that's all I have.
What were those 2 wells?
Wells 4 and 6.
4 and 6, okay.
Yeah, they dropped 4.5 and 8.5 respectively.
Okay.
And Johnny, how are your nitrates levels? Are they kind of staying the same?
9.5 consistently now. It's creeping up.
I just ask, I'll probably ask every month. But I heard that the spring or the pond is filling, so your water table must be going up.
Well, that's what the newspaper says, and our static water level at well 6 is 31 feet, so that's getting better as well.
Okay.
So it's possible that the pond is seeing that, because although I still don't know how the water's getting in there, once it gets in there, it's not going to stay because the pond's not sealed.
Right. I just wondered if maybe, nitrate levels are, going down because the tables are rising. That was just my correlation.
My nitrates are going up. They went from like 9.2, 9.3 to now 9.5.
All right. Well, we'll pray for you.
Yeah, thanks. I think yours are going down because you're sending them down to us, Pam.
Oh,
Just kidding.
that was not my intent, and I'm so sorry.
We'll pass them down the road.
Could it have something to do with, the people's septic right there on those houses?
It could, I mean, it's coming from somewhere, and there's no way for us to determine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same with us when we went through all of ours. We just had Mother Nature friendly, spit it out.
Yeah, I don't think the earthquakes are helping us at all either. If it's leaking septic tanks, especially the concrete ones, each earthquake is gonna potentially cause more.
Yeah, let's not hope that could happen in Lake of the Woods too,
Well, we're gonna pray not.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, anything else?
Thank you, Pam.
All right.
Thank you, Pam.
Hey, Johnny, what is your nitrate level on well number 6?
We don't have to sample that all the time. We don't have to sample it like we just do the regular sampling. The last sampling was around 5. But we don't have to do it monthly like we do well 6. I think we do it quarterly.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to 13I, and that is a discussion vote on claims and payments that doesn't exist till next week.
Well, Carlos, refresh my memory on this. I know that we put on the claim last time, but we weren't able to submit that claim, correct? That claim is gonna be held.
Yes.
That was probably for Oscar's project, not for the planning project.
So the planning project, we're still able to submit, right?
Yes.
Okay. When is our final submittal date?
I'd have to look at the planning project, agreement to.
Cause I think it's important that we know that because, I mean, I know we're doing an amendment, but we want to make sure we get in all these claims, before that date. So
Yeah,
that we can get paid.
I'll be looking at that right now.
Okay.
Isn't that the December 2024?
Well,
I
yeah,
think
but
it,
there's
I think it is December 2024, but I'd have to.
Okay. Okay, you don't have to do it today, but I just wanna, maybe that we have that.
For the state update, if you can look that up, just so we make sure that we're okay on that
Yeah.
one. Because we'll have to get as much as we can in before we have to sit on them approving the next date.
Right.
Unless they can do that quickly.
They say it takes
Nothing,
6
nothing's
months.
quickly, so,
So we're
okay.
gonna be passed for 3 months where we don't have anything going on.
Okay, so are there any other questions on any item 13 discussion points? Okay, moving on to item 14, discussion about update on FPPD meter replacement projects and emergency well supply projects. 14A, discussion vote on funding agreement amendment number 3. So, we do need to look up, I think Tiffany.
Well, she did, and I'm confused. Cause she says that we paid $646,000 and they're saying to Unified, we've paid $530,000.
That's progress payment 1, 2, and 3 for the meter well, so.
So that's a big problem. The amendment's incorrect because we still owe on a change order for the amendment.
Well, so they say change order contingency is $643,000. But I don't know what,
What's that amount that we have right now? That we paid already? 646, so it's still over, and that's without including the change order. So we have a problem, Oscar. So we've paid out $646,338.43, and we still have money to pay out as part of this agreement. And the agreement is actually coming to less than, with the change order, the amount that we've already paid.
and we've gotten all the money from the state, correct?
You mean on those?
Yeah,
On the first 3.
Yeah,
yeah.
those are really old claims.
So those are really old claims that they've paid.
Yeah, but
I
it's,
can go double check.
Cause that's why it seems weird because where they have they have phase 1. And construction phase 1, and it says 530,162, which isn't, that's.
I don't think we can sign this until we talk to the state.
Is that the only thing that you noticed? Any other inconsistencies?
Well, that is what I noticed, and but I don't know, the problem is, it just says change order contingency, 643,000. So I don't know what all that includes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, does it include the total amount that we still owe? I mean, I think the amount that we owe is only,
It's 100,000 something.
so
it would
it
be
plus the 50,000 is about 108, it's probably about 100 and, how,
Well, but the state's not paying for the whole thing, so the part that the state's
Well,
paying for. is
yeah, but
about
there was 100 and some thousand left. And then there was the fence and then the capping of the well, which was another 50 or 60,000, wasn't it, Dee?
Yeah.
These numbers don't add up no matter how you look at it, so something's wrong.
That's why I don't understand why they put 530,000 when we've already paid out 646,388,000.43 on 3 invoices.
We need to,
We did pay 1, 2, and 3, right?
We need to look at that tabulation. I haven't seen it. How do we get to that?
Well, this is an amendment that the state sent us for signature tonight or for a vote tonight, but we were questioning when we read through it, the amounts and wanted to know what we had already physically paid Unified. And when when Tiffany looked at her spreadsheet, it looks like we've paid Unified more than even
Than what they show
the
here.
amount they're showing, plus there's the contingency where it doesn't quite spell out the exact amount for the capping. You know, it should, I don't see that it's spelled out correctly for the final work, which we had some questions on anyway, so that the final fencing and the final capping of or abandonment of the well, as said in the resolution. So,
When
I mean,
D-
it might be correct.
Can you send it to us?
9, 10, and
We can-
12 for the meter well. That's progress payment 1, 2, 3. You're on claims 9, 10, and 12.
So claims 9, 10, and 12.
Had the unified progress payment.
did you hear that, Oscar? Claims 9, 10, and 12?
yeah, I just wrote that down so I can reference that. Okay.
I think D to look something up.
And so I'm definitely concerned. I know the state's pushing us to sign this, but I'm definitely concerned that we probably need to talk about it in the state update meeting.
Okay. What I can do as well is, so that Ruben has this information to kind of, look over it, and it's not something new to him, I can bring it up to his attention and send him an email tomorrow. Just stating, this exhibit, A 1 through 7, where the amounts for construction in phase 1. And then you also had a question about D.
So the only,
What's that?
yeah, with D Ruben, the only concern I had was I just wanted to make sure that the change order and what D was requesting, which I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's about $100 and maybe $170,000. I just want, they have that in contingency, and I want to make sure that contingency they have is 643, that's covering that whole amount, you know?
It can't be, because I think contingency,
Does the contingency include it? I mean, is
the
that,
contingency is the amount. That's the readdressed amount, it looks like. And that's a problem because it's not including that other money, and they don't have a breakdown of the final costs, which we needed. We were waiting for them to give it to us for the fencing and the final capping, and that's not actually broken out here. It just has a one price change order contingency. It doesn't show the change order.
You know what? This could also be, and this is just me thinking, this could also be the approved available budget as of you guys signing that would be available for this. It doesn't necessarily
But
mean
that's-
that. What's that?
But then that's not okay because we're already over that.
No, I don't think
No,
they're-
then-
the way that I'm understanding this right now, just by looking at it, this means moving forward what's available, what would be available now if need be from these categories. Not what's been spent to date. If that makes any sense.
well, I mean, but what I'm saying is if they had on there 530,000 that for like the phase 1, that's incorrect. I mean, they've already paid out 646,000.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that, Brahma. And then like, because if you compare Amendment 1 to Amendment 2, they changed that too as well. You know, like they reduced it is what or increased it. I'm not too sure because I don't have those other amendments in front of me right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the change order contingency, they reduced it, but I just need to know that we're covering the cost of what we've asked for.
And the issue is on the first three progress payments, there was no change order. And as far as I understand, the change order is only the final stuff. And that we're
I mean, we
paying,
don't have Curtis here tonight, so I don't know. Do you know?
Excuse me.
Because I don't remember if we've done any change or, the only change order that I was aware of
is
was
that last one.
the last order.
I don't believe there was a change order on the first three progress payments.
Well, Curtis,
We were wait-
Curtis can straighten all that out.
Is it possible for Curtis to be at the state update meeting?
He's always in the meeting anyway.
Okay.
Okay, but can you have him get with, Oscar tomorrow maybe? And, I
Well,
mean, we need,
yeah,
we need to
I
get to Ruben about this.
well, I think we need to know what, Oscar, can you send us what you have so that we can, so Curtis can review it, so we can review it and see if we can make some
So-
sense of it?
You send him a copy of the amendment?
The Amendment 3, D. I just emailed it to you.
Okay, all right. I'll get that to Curtis and then we can take a look at that. Because yeah, things don't make,
Like I said, I don't have a problem signing it. I just want to make sure that the costs are covered. That's all.
yes.
Yeah, but I have a problem
Yeah,
signing it.
that's
I'll
the
say
whole
no because the amounts aren't correct.
Yeah.
So unless everybody else says yes, I'm not signing it.
Well, I'm saying they should correct that, or they need to explain why it's 530,000 when we've already spent 646,338.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you guys want, I can get clarification from Ruben tomorrow, just so he has that in the back of his head when we have the state update meeting on Thursday of next week.
Yes, and I think it's important to spell out the change order somewhere on this because it's not spelled out anywhere now. We never finally agreed on that change order. We were waiting for an agreement from the state to be like, that's okay. So I think that needs to be spelled out. I didn't see that it was spelled out anywhere.
You're referring to the destruction of well 7 and the fence?
Yes.
Okay.
That was never finalized. We had an amount for it. We had a paperwork for it, but the state had issues with it and we were waiting for all this stuff to be adjusted.
Well, there's two things. There's a final progress payment that they submitted. And I think there was like $30,000 worth of things
Comes
that
out of our pocket.
we will pay for when they deliver it to us. And then there was the final cost of the well and the fencing.
Right, because the final progress payment is not including the change order for the well and the fencing. For the capping, abandonment, whatever we want to call it, and the fencing. And that's what we signed that resolution in regard to, but we still didn't really get the final numbers.
I mean, we provided all that to the state, or D did, so we just need to make sure it's correct in here, that it's being covered, that they either spell it out or because we don't want to sign something and then them saying, oh, well, you gotta eat this cost.
Do you have that letter that you gave to Lawrence? D, that if you could forward that to me as well, and we can bring that up to Ruben's attention.
Okay, got a
He'll,
note.
he'll have, yeah, we need the change order, the total cost, and the final progress payment. And what was agreed to.
Yeah, because the final progress payment is not part of the change order, so that should actually have been in that amount, that 500,000 as well. Which is we're at 600 and something, so that's definitely, I don't know, what was the amount that they sent us for the final? They already sent us a bill for it, I believe.
It was $100 and some thousand dollars.
Haven't seen that in a long time.
We haven't seen it in a long time, but it was he has the final progress payment.
Yeah.
That we haven't even submitted yet.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. It's,
Yeah, no, I know you guys will. I just,
And I believe the state was pressuring us to get this signed, but I don't see how we could possibly do that before the state update.
Yeah. Excellent.
We Probably have to sign it at the next meeting.
yeah,
Okay, so are there any other items with that? It sort of morphs into 14B, which is the discussion about update on well 7,
Okay.
they're part of the same thing.
so we have to have this signed by the 30th of September. Because it says here, appropriate electronically signed signature pays, Adobe no later than 30 calendar days from the date of this letter. And the letter is August 30th, 2024.
So I think on both 14A and B, so on B, we need the final change order and agreed upon, and on A, we need the numbers correct. Is everybody good with that? And Dee's gonna check into it and we're gonna move on until the state update?
So Oscar, you're gonna pull your claims 9, 10, and 12 and get those figures out so that you can tell Ruben that this is what we already paid, and then also include.
The one more progress.
And then one more progress payment.
And the change order.
Okay, I can do that. I'll do that tomorrow. Just so
Okay.
I don't recall where I have the last progress payment from Unified. Tiffany, can you send that to me before the night's over? Would that be possible? I know you guys are all tomorrow.
Dee, do you have that you can send?
I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it, Lisa. So I'll do that.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to 14C, which is the meter replacement portion of this. And we probably, when we sign that amendment, need to make sure that the meter replacement monies are accurate as well. Because I don't know what we've paid on that or haven't paid on that. And we need to probably, before we sign that amendment, make absolutely sure that everything's covered. Because we're basically done with the meter replacement other than the few, did we ever get the last meters? No, we haven't gotten those yet.
Yeah.
So there's
No,
still,
brush still haven't put them in when you come in, so.
yeah, so we're still waiting for a final, so that, we just need to make sure we're covered for the final brush, putting in the final meters and the final meters.
Well, I mean, he could just verify. Because it doesn't look like they didn't change
That one.
the Bruff construction, that they have down here.
That's not a change order, right? Them coming and doing the final meters, that's part of the full project amount? So yeah, so that one's probably okay because it's not saying change order.
As far as I know, but Curtis has been tracking that.
But we need to
Very
double
well.
check that with Curtis as well.
Yes, Curtis has a very detailed analysis of all of this. And, so he definitely needs to be folded in on this.
So if he can get with Oscar tomorrow morning,
I'm not sure what Curtis's schedule is for tomorrow, but I'm going to contact him tonight. And then we'll go from
okay,
there.
Okay, thank you, Dee.
Mhm.
So 14D, as far as the claims and payouts, that's not until after or at the state meeting that we discussed that. But we do have issues still with these claims and payouts because we're
right, they're on
submitting
hold.
claims, but they're on
Well,
hold.
until we
the
sign
things-
this, we can't submit it.
Right, until
That's
the amendment's
that's the
signed
issue.
and gets approved and all that good stuff. So
Mhm.
that's still an issue.
So we
So,
I heard back,
Yeah.
are we on 14D now, you said?
D, yes.
Okay, so for 14D, as I mentioned, Jesse, my director, had reached out to upper management at DFA. And they're expecting refunds of claims 26 through 28, but before the end of this month. So you guys should be receiving checks for that.
Okay,
Okay.
what happened to 27?
That 26, 27, and 28.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
And then after that, that should put the balance back to zero on the bridge loan. So we could be able to start to make a withdrawal to pay some of those outstanding progress payments and other invoices.
Okay, so that we morphed into 14E, but that's 14E. So as soon as we get the monies for those claims, then we'll be able to pay the last progress payment, but we still need the details on that to make sure that it's correct.
Well, we have to look at the claims that we have if we're gonna pay. Like, cause he's already done 20, not, where are we at now? We did 29 and 30.
Yeah,
So 29 and 30 is on hold and we've not even submitted to the state yet. So we need to review what's there to see what we can
Right, but I
pay.
think the progress payment, is it on one of those?
there's progress
I don't-
on both of those, on 29 and 30 for Brough Construction.
Okay. So yeah, so then we can,
Okay,
so then we can pay those once from the bridge loan, once we get these other.
yeah, so we'll be prepaying those and then waiting for the state to approve everything. Okay, so any other questions, discussion on 14? Okay, moving on to item 15, discussion vote on the pipeline replacement project.
So I think you're done, Oscar. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I'll
Good
with
weekend.
Ruben tomorrow.
Okay, so, I don't believe anything's changed on 15A, we're still in a holding pattern on the amount of completion, correct?
Correct.
Steve?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, and have we, do we have any changes, Carlos, on 15B, the, application? Is there anything that we're still waiting on or any issues?
Not that I know of. I talked to Ruben and he told me that we're like in the review process already. So I'm thinking we're good on that right now.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he was saying we had X amount of complete, I mean, he was saying soon. Okay, I guess we'll find out more next week. So are there any other questions on 15, A or B? Okay, so I think we're done with, oh no, we still have the rate study. Do we need Carlos for that?
Yeah, he was gonna give info.
Okay, so, item 16, discussion vote on the rate study. Do you have any, comments on that, Carlos?
On the rate study,
You were saying self-help might have a,
You were saying, yeah, there might be funding to be, covered for the rates that might be covered by
or
available.
that they have
to be-
somebody who does it. I thought you said.
Yeah, that somebody who does it and that it would be covered by TA funds. Is that correct? Where are we at on that? Because
Well-
we definitely need to move forward with another rate study because we're starting to really struggle with, paying all this stuff with our
Well,
additional things that have.
I'll have to check. I'll have to check and see if we can cover that, because if it's not on the work plan, then it might not be able to get covered, so I would have to update the work plan, but first I'd have to talk to my management and the person that does the rate study to see if we can do one for Frazier Park, because you guys did one so recently, not that long ago, so.
No, it
let me
runs
check on
out
that.
as of next year.
It runs out next year.
Yeah,
And
let
so
me
as
check
long
on that, but have Tiffany send me a email as to, the reasons for the rate study, and then, when you guys would like to get that done, so I can talk to my management about that.
Yeah, because it takes quite a while, so you always have to start it before, the next time when you can raise rates. So we have another year, but it takes a while to complete. So
Because we want to raise rates January of 26.
Okay. Yeah, let me talk to him, have Tiffany send me all this information, and I'll talk to my manager and see if we can make it work under this work plan that we have right now, or if I'm gonna have to update it, or if we can even include it.
Okay, because I thought you had brought it up to us, but you had just
What's
brought
that?
up the possibility that you could. I thought you had brought it up to us, but you had just brought up the possibility that you guys have someone to do a rate study, correct?
Yeah, we have someone that does it now, but it's gotta fit in the work plan, and
Okay.
but since you guys want to do it until 26, then
We don't, we
And it might
want, we
work.
want it. Yeah, I mean, we want the rate increase to go in effect in January 26. So,
yeah,
which means we need to do it way before, like probably April or May, because then you still have to do all the Prop 218 and
Yeah, we
meetings.
need to be starting it pretty soon if we want to,
yeah. But
Sure.
let me check. Like I said, let me check, because there's a possibility that he might be able to start working on it now, because we're submitting a construction funding application for consolidation, and that requires like the 5-year budget and stuff like that. So it kind of fits into a rate study. So, but like I said, I need to check the details with my manager and see if we can start it now, or if I have to update the work plan, or what's going on.
and
Okay,
it also, it affects the final, annexation and us doing another MSR as well, so. Okay, any other questions or comments,
Do we want to bring
concerns?
anything up or not? Okay.
And
Okay,
just to go back, I did check what the final disbursement date was for the planning. That's December 31st, 2024.
okay.
okay, thank you. Okay, item 17, discussion vote on standby fee assessment.
There, I'm ready.
So
You want
that's
me to-
also in conjunction with Carlos, correct?
You want me to start? Okay, so there was another meeting with NBS, with Greg. He's putting together he's finalizing the list of all the properties that will be assessed the standby fee coming middle next year. He just had, Johnny and I work on clarifying some properties and who would be subject to it. So what he does first is comes up with a list and a number of properties that will be assessed. Then he begins an assessment of the water system. I don't know all the details about that, but he comes up with a number. Then he takes that number, divides it by the amount of properties that will be assessed, and that's how he gets the new standby fee. So we're getting through the process. He should be done with his list of properties, and then he'll begin the engineering assessment.
So like a few of the properties, he couldn't tell if there were properties that were improved on already or could be, like say, put a house there. So I went around and checked a few of those to verify, yeah, it's a totally empty lot, because when you look on the county GIS map, as you know, everything's shifted with the overlay. So unless you know the system, it's hard for somebody else to tell. So I went around and verified.
Or like my property that I've been paying an assessment fee for years and I don't have a property, a separate property. So that one next to me is not owned by me. So I don't know. I need to go to the county, so probably people, before it goes up to, so I haven't cared because it wasn't that much money, but I'm certainly gonna care when I'm paying a lot more money on something I don't own. So I'm sure there's other people in that boat as well. I know they were because we made all these changes already. So, okay, so that's. Okay. No other questions, anything? Okay, item 18, discussion about update on Cal OES community power resiliency allocation of special districts grant, final testing and purchase of the generators.
Okay, the good news
Okay.
is.
And this is where I'm gonna say, good night, and we'll talk.
Oh, yeah.
Good night,
Carlos.
Thank
you. Have a good
Thank you.
weekend. Thanks.
The good news is the only generator that we could, that we have the leads to hook up happens to be the yard, and we had a blown fuse out on the main power poles, had no power, and we were able to run the generator until we got Edison out here to fix that, so that was a big success. The other thing is the invoices that PTS was trying to get us to pay that extra $500 and something. I sent him, after our last discussion about it, I sent him an email and said I wanted to have a meeting with Curtis and Greg from PTS and me and Dee to hammer out why that is. And, I haven't heard back from him. They were hounding me. Now they're not, so they may just be writing that off. I don't know what the deal is with that, but.
Good. Yeah, because we made the final payment of 83,000,
Yeah, we
whatever
made
it
the full
was.
payment and
Yeah.
maybe he just said, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if new billing comes out on the 1st with that invoice still.
Good.
And then if new billing does come out, we may still charge them for their.
Maybe, yeah, we'll talk to you. That's why we need to get together with Curtis, whether or not that's appropriate and whether it's appropriate to have to even pay that extra money, so.
All right.
Good.
Because some of it, when I looked at it, some of it's taxes that weren't in,
No, I know, but and some of it.
but it's
is
not
also-
all taxes.
No.
It's like an
Some of it
extra.
is the startup and time and they should have to do that anyway, so that's why I'm saying we'll talk to Curtis about that if it comes up.
Okay.
19.
Okay, so anything else on 18 before we move on?
Okay, Dee, I think you're done for
Thank you,
tonight.
Dee.
Thank you, Dee.
Have a good
night,
sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dave.
You're
We
welcome.
don't have anything to do, so take it easy night.
I'm gonna send you all the revised planning study timeline that we revised tonight. Just for your,
Okay.
just to take a look at it, make sure by, next Thursday, we're all in concert on this and I've understood exactly what we're trying to do. I think I have, but anyway, so you'll get that.
Well, if you did what we said, that's,
Come on, let's go.
Yes.
awesome. Thank you, Dee.
Is there any reason why we can't table T20?
Talk to the
Well,
board.
we can't table 20, but
Oh,
it's,
can't table 20.
it's a
okay.
2-second item.
What's
All right.
20?
Discussion review.
19, let's go.
Johnny's asking if we can table it. Are you wanting to move forward or table it?
What do you guys say? It's just a simple thing.
No, 19 is not a simple thing.
No, I meant the tabling, it was a simple thing because it's late now, is what I'm saying.
Well, we've gone through, what?
I don't even know where we're at on it.
I think we've gone through the first 8 pages.
Well, let's do it then.
Let's do, I mean, we could do like some more pages, because we're,
Do you have a record of where we're at? Leslie? I've lost complete.
well,
I
I've
think I
got,
can keep notes on where we're at.
I think.
I've got stuff written on other pages, but that's because I was writing things in, so I don't know where we're at.
So we have a,
I think we're 18,
19.
8 of
got marked-
18.
19 is marked up.
9 of 18 is where we stopped saying May.
Thank you.
9 of 18.
I concur.
Okay, so we're on page
But I
10.
had question marks on the DMV report. I mean, where did we, I
don't think we didn't discuss page 9.
Okay, so we're at page 9 or?
Yes, we're at
have
page-
stuff at 9?
We're at page 9.
Okay. Okay, so, we're gonna start with page 9 of 18. We're gonna start with the cost accounting records. So right now, and I didn't understand exactly what cost accounting records entails. It's saying 3 years and, A for, let me go back to the table
Got a
here.
Y on media storage.
A stands for advisable.
What's Y?
Y is yes.
I only have an issue with this because I don't know what it entails.
The whole page?
I don't know what cost accounting records entails.
Yeah, we'll skip that one, do some research and we'll come back to it.
Okay. Are we okay skipping that?
Yeah, I mean,
Board? Okay.
Yeah.
so let's go
None
on
of us
with
know
what
what
we
it is,
do.
so we need to look into it.
We need to ask our attorney what it is because he's the one that came up with this.
more cost.
Yep. Okay, customer aging analysis, that I'm assuming is the aging on the accounts. It 2 years retained, but I know we've been having some issues with things that are wrong on that. So we've had a few things come up where, so I don't know if we want a little bit longer than that.
Have we had problems come up with that?
Yeah, that was the thing where we
Customer
had,
aging. Once it's audited, you generally don't go back to customer.
but didn't we have that money that we had to give back because we had billed for something
I
that
don't think that's
was.
customer aging, that was just.
No, that's
That
complete,
wasn't customer aging at all, that was simply.
data error.
Yeah, we've been billing people wrong all them years, that wouldn't be.
But that
customer
would
aging.
be aging because it would, the
No.
aging is their bills. Right?
No.
No, agent, what it takes to get them to pay. So
Okay.
time you bill,
Yeah.
time you receive.
Whether they're 30, 60, 90 days behind.
And don't we have a payment plan that? I don't
If
know.
you
2
apply
years-
for it, yeah.
None of those are records, just so you know, and those are never deleted. They're all in RBS, and when the payment plan is up, then the payment plan's up. And when it's not up, it's still there. And if people get locked off because they haven't paid, it stays there for eternity until somebody pays it, or we turn it over to the county for collection.
Well, if they're in RBS, then they're retained already, so shouldn't that be something else besides 2 years?
No, unless it's just what's included in some of Deborah's reports. You know, she gets monthly reports.
That should go under a
annual
different
reports.
that should go over lockoff or something. Cause isn't
That's the only time
customer
it's printed.
aging analysis just a billing cycle and how
Yeah,
they,
the billing registers, that's only,
for monthly bills?
it's only kept on paper with Deborah.
Huh.
So, and then she files it after the year's audited. It goes in our anchor boxes and put in the lower office, so.
So, are we good with 2 years? I don't
Yep.
know.
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't
Okay,
think it's a big deal.
media storage required prior to destruction of records. Yeah, we put it in the boxes, right? Is that a yes?
Mhm.
And then we can destroy it after? Okay. Okay, customer complaints, years retained right now 5, and then it has a blank on storage required. I think we should require it, store it before we destruct it, but is 5 years okay? I don't see why
It's funny.
5
Yep,
years
more
would
than
be
enough,
It's
okay.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we put 5 years in a yes?
Yep.
Okay. Daily work reports, what are the daily work reports?
Work orders.
Okay, so.
10 years is more than enough for.
Way more.
Okay, so are we okay with 10 years and a yes? I don't know why it's advisable. I don't think anything should be advisable. It should be yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Huh?
Just put a Y in there. Yeah,
Okay.
right, yes.
Okay, deeds, that is permanent. And, OCD means original
What I
cannot
am.
be destroyed. That's fine. Huh?
What I am.
Yeah, so we're good with that, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Permanent OCD, okay. Deferred compensation annual summary.
I don't believe we even have those.
Yeah.
We don't.
A lot of this stuff doesn't pertain to a really small district.
Okay, so we'll just leave that.
Delegation order.
Any issues with just leaving it as it is since we don't even do it?
Yeah,
No.
leave it as is.
Okay, delegation
We
orders,
don't have those either.
same thing, just leave it and put a yes?
We'll put a yes in there, doesn't matter.
Okay, depreciation schedules, depreciation, I think we need to
Part of our
keep
budget.
because we have some things that come up with that, but probably 10 years is enough because it should be also in the audits, I believe.
Yeah, right.
So I would say 10 years, yes.
Okay.
Same thing with, the next one, disposal of scrap materials, because that's just the record of the disposal of the scrap.
Yeah, and you could just put a yes.
Disposal of
Surplus properties.
surplus properties, that I would hold on to a little longer, only because we've had issues come up with it, like
Well, we'll still
15.
have it on media storage. We'll still have the record of it. You're never gonna find the
Oh,
record.
media storage required, yeah, that's true. As long as, but wait, so media storage required prior to destruction of records, oh, so we're storing it and destroying the original.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just keep the
okay,
paper,
yeah,
keep the
that's
digital.
fine.
And really, everything now is on, everything going forward is already on,
And you have redundant backups of stuff
right, cause the older stuff is already,
in the,
yeah,
being
and
destroyed by.
yeah, and it's all
mice and stuff.
destroyed and it's gone now, really.
Okay, district insurance records, life plus 10 years, so, and then
Sufficient.
advisable, I'm just gonna say yes. We want, yeah, I think we just want yes on everything, we
Yeah.
just back it up.
Okay.
District ordinance, resolution, regulation, or order adopted by district previously, but has since been repealed or otherwise invalidated or unenforceable. Certainly life plus 5 is enough because
Yeah.
it's not even applicable anymore. And a yes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, district
Mhm.
ordinances, policies, rules and regulations, that one's just life. I think,
And original
It's-
cannot be destroyed, so.
yeah, no destruction of the,
Perfect.
actually, I think on original cannot be destroyed, shouldn't we have that on the, no, these are the ones that are no, and not enforceable anymore, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, so district water rights, that's permanent and can't be destroyed, so that's fine.
Keep going.
DMV reports, and I had question marks on this because we have life plus 7, but are we backing those up? I think I had question marks because some of these are, what do you call it? HR kind of stuff that we shouldn't be necessarily retaining, especially if the person's no longer working for us. I don't know if we need
It's
to
up to you,
hold.
but I mean, all they are is the district poll notice, so if somebody gets a DUI or tickets, we know about it. That's all that is.
So do we,
So far, we don't get rid of anything.
So we just store that and, but we don't,
Well,
we
we
can get rid
should,
of the
I
original.
mean, life plus 7 is what's recommended, so just leave it.
Yes.
And put Y.
Right, but I mean, we can put yes, we back, I think I just had the question marks as far as, and then we can back it up and we can destroy it.
The next one's good too.
And I don't even think we need life plus 7 if we're backing it up, because if they're, I think it should just be the life of the employee working here, because why do
Okay,
we
so
need 7 more years?
That makes sense.
Yeah, 1 page.
Put 10 years. 10 years, because if some kind of lawsuit came up 3 years after, or 2 years after they were here, we would want to have the actual records.
Then it would be life plus 10.
No, I said just 10 years.
If you do just
And
10,
then you
that
back it up.
doesn't cover them still working for this company.
Okay, well, other than me, it pretty much does, but all right, whatever you want.
Because if you have life, then as soon as they leave the company, we're not,
Everything we're backing up media storage is gonna be permanent
yeah.
for forever, so.
So you just want it, do you guys care that that be life for 10 years, or what do we want? I mean, life is till they leave in our employment, I would
Yeah,
believe.
that life plus 7. Oh, it's, yeah, it's saying 7 years, so that's.
Yeah, but I don't think it needs to be 7, well,
It
okay.
ain't gonna matter.
Who cares?
Okay, so let's just
Oh,
keep it
huh.
at life plus 7 and not worry about it, and yes,
Thank
okay,
you.
is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Documents relating to pending or potential lawsuits or settlements.
That's good too.
That's, we changed, I would say change it from A to Y, and that's life plus 3, so
Yeah.
3 years later. Okay,
Yeah, next one's permanent.
next one's
Can't destroy.
permanent.
Yeah, you feel nice.
Okay, so we have a director asking to stop here, is everyone good with stopping?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not gonna
Yep.
worry about voting on that, we're just gonna stop. And we will carry that on, and we will go back and look up that other one on what it means. So we are moving on to item 20, discussion vote on biannual review of the conflict of interest code.
So the county requires us to review it every 2 years and send in a document with a checkbox that says doesn't need to be changed. I sent the conflict of interest to Alan. He said it doesn't need to be changed. So just approve it with no changes, and then I just send that document. to the
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve it with no changes and have Tiffany send it in.
I'll make a motion that we approve the conflict of interest code as our biennial review
With no changes?
with no changes.
I'll second
And
that.
Tiffany can send it in?
And yeah, Tiffany can send them in.
Okay, so were you seconding that whole?
I'm seconding the
Okay,
whole.
So we have a motion and a second, and any discussion, questions? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes 5-0-0. Okay, item 21, review and approve meeting minutes for 8/6/24 AP Standing Committee, and 8/8/2024 regular meeting, 8/20/24 AP Standing Committee, 8/22 regular 24 regular state planning and project meeting.
I make a motion. Okay, wait a second, there's a couple more, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the AP Standing Committee meeting minutes, August 6, 2024. The regular meeting minutes, August 8, 2024, the Accounts Payable Standing Committee, August 20th, and the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, August 22nd, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, I wasn't at one of these, right? 822? Is that the one I missed? I'll just
Yes.
abstain, we got enough.
Okay.
Okay, and I haven't looked at it if it was, so, okay, so that motion passes 4-0 and 1 abstention. And we're gonna move on to item 22, discussion vote on future agenda items. I had thought of something that needed to be added and now it has gone away.
When you think of it, you can let Tiffany know.
Yeah, so anyone else have future agenda items that we need to bring up?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay, then hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second are made. Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, so we are adjourning this meeting at 6:45.
Thank you.
Thank
ladies
you,
and gentlemen.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
See you in a couple weeks.
Good night, everybody.